Today we're going to work on some tips and tricks to help build strength, steadiness, and confidence in your handstand. You'll need 2 blocks, a strap, and you want your strap to have a loop in it, which is shoulder head to shoulder head, and definitely a sense of humor, because we're going to fall down, we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to have fun. Let's get started. We're going to begin with a block in front at the wide position. Sit on your heels with your toes touching the wall. So do use a wall space for this. It's going to be helpful as we progress throughout the sequence today. All right, so take your block, reach your arms out in front of you, and hold on to the block with the palms of your hands so that the knuckles of the hands, the index knuckle of the hands, press into the block. Ground your buttock bones all the way back to your heels. And if it's not already there, draw your knees together so that your ribs rest onto the tops of your thighs. And rather than letting your forehead touch down to the floor, please keep your ears lifted alongside the arms. As you hold on to the block with the palms of your hands, firm your outer upper arms in. Hug your triceps in toward the tip of your nose. And without losing that firmness through your outer upper arms, press the pinky border of your hands down to the floor so that the underneath side of your arms lift up and away from your mat. So in other words, your elbows are not touching the floor here. As the pinky border of the hands press down, the underneath side of the arms, they lift up and away from your mat. Without losing that work, outer upper arms firm in. Underneath side of the arms, they lift up and away from the floor. Bring your mind's eye to the bottom tips of your shoulder blades and begin to coil the bottom tips of your shoulder blades down toward your chest, toward your breastbone. And as though you had an imaginary string connected to your breastbone, rather than dropping your chest down to the floor, instead elongate the belly, the sternum, and the crown of your head straight forward to the wall in front of you. Enjoy one more breath here in the pose. Exhale and release. All right, push yourself up. Then you're going to take your second block and you're going to align your block side by side just like so. Reach your arms out in front of you so that the pinky border of the hands press into the block. Separate your hands shoulder width apart. And rather than dropping your head all the way down to the floor, please keep your ears lifted alongside the arms. The reason that we're doing that is because we're trying to access the muscles in between the shoulder blades, and it's very challenging to do that when your head is lower than your arms. Imagine that you have a third block in between your palms, and as you hold on to that imaginary block, the outer upper arms firm in. Hug your triceps into the tip of your nose. Without losing that firmness, press the pinky border of your hands down onto the block so that the underneath side of the arms lift up and away from your mat. Without letting your elbows bend, without letting those underneath side of the arms buckle, begin to coil your chest open. Bottom tips of the shoulder blades glide down to the chest so that the belly, the sternum, and the crown of the head elongate straight forward to the wall in front of you. Take one more breath just like that. Exhale and release. All right, we're going to do that one more time. This time, before we actually go and do it, I want you to watch me because I'm going to demonstrate what we're trying not to do and what we are trying to do in our body, okay? So when you reach the arms out in front, again, the head is not lower than the arms. The head is in line with the arms. And this underneath side of the arm, it's not drooping down, it's lifting. It's resisting up to the ceiling. I'm going to round my upper body just a bit here so that, to exaggerate and really drive home the point of what we're trying to do here. So again, this underneath side of the arm lifts up and away from the floor. And then that area right in between the shoulder blades begins to absorb into the chest. Move the back ribs into the body and elongate your chest straight forward to the wall in front of you. So we're getting length, which is what we're after here. Okay, so one more time. Reach your arms out in front of you. Hands are shoulder width apart. Ears in line with the arms. And as you firm those outer upper arms in, lift and resist the underneath side of the arms up and away from the floor. Keeping that work, bring your mind's eye to the bottom tips of the shoulder blades and begin to coil the bottom tips of the shoulder blades down toward your chest. Elongating the belly, the sternum, the crown of the head straight forward. And can you do that without crunching the muscles at the base of your neck? One more breath like that. Exhale and release. All right, go ahead and move your blocks off to the side. Come up onto all fours. Again, the toes are just going to graze the wall. The hands will be about 2 inches in front of the shoulders. Spread your fingers. And then take a moment and look at your hands and check to make sure that the creases of your wrist are parallel to the top edge of your mat. I find that almost everybody needs to turn the hands out just a little bit in order to make that happen. As you press down into your palms, make your arms longer. Grow the forearms up out of the palms. Lift the shoulders up out of the forearms. Curl the toes under and shift back to downward dog. The heels will come up to the wall. Ears are in line with the arms. And as you press evenly into the palms of the hands, firm your outer upper arms in. Hug your triceps in toward the tip of your nose. And then as you press down into the floor, make your arms longer. Grow the shoulders up out of the forearms. As the hips reach up and back to the wall behind you. Take one more breath just like that. Exhale, come down into your knees, have a seat, and we're going to take child's pose one more time, but this time I'd like you to take your block. You'll put your block at the long position in front of you. Let your forehead settle onto the block and reach your arms out in front of you. Ground the buttock bones all the way back to the heels. Draw the knees together so that the ribs rest onto the tops of the thighs. So we're using child's pose to teach us the actions in our downward dog and ultimately into our handstand. We don't want to be splaying those front ribs down to the floor. So let the ribs be supported by the thighs. And as the very center of your forehead rests onto your block, allow the two sides of your neck to elongate as the very crown of your head lengthens forward to the wall in front of you. Separate your hands shoulder width. Spread your fingers. And as you press down into your palms, firm your outer upper arms in. Hug your triceps into the tip of the nose. And without losing that firmness through your outer arms, press the palms down so that the underneath side of the arms can lift up and away from the floor. And I can't emphasize that enough. In no way, shape, or form are your forearms resting on the floor. The more you press your palms down, the more the underneath side of the arms lift up and away from your mat. And without losing that work, see if you can coil the chest open. Softening the muscles at the base of your neck as you breathe. Keeping your hands exactly as they are. Come up onto all fours. Take one of your hands, move that block off to the side, replace your hand. Again, you'll notice that the hands are a good 2 inches in front of the shoulders. And then as you lift up out of your palms, this back part of the arm, it reaches forward to the wall in front of you. It resists forward. Curl the toes under and shift back to downward facing dog. Again, the heels will come up to the wall. Ears are in line with the arms. And as the knuckles of the hands root down, the underbelly of the forearms lift up and away from the mat. The hips lift up out of the shoulders. Shoulders draw up out of the palms of your hands. Slowing down your breath. Keeping your heels plugged back into the wall. Shift your shoulders over your wrists. Now you might need to readjust your hands or your feet a little bit so that those shoulders are really under the wrists. And as you press your palms down, make your arms longer. Shoulders lift up out of the palms of the hands. The heels press back into the wall as the thighs lift up to the ceiling, lengthening your buttock to your heels. 2 more breaths just like that. And let's go ahead and lower the knees down to the floor. And in one piece, you'll lower all the way down into your belly. From here, you're going to scoot your body back so that your heels press back into the wall. Reach your arms all the way out in front of you and cup the floor with the pads of your fingertips so that your elbows are straight. Separate your feet hips width. And as you press the ball mounds of the big toes, the inner heels back into the wall, notice how your thighs lift up and away from the floor. Without buckling in your thighs, bring your thumbs to the top of your buttock, to the top of your bum, and use your thumbs to lengthen your buttock down toward your heels, but without buckling in your thighs. Thighs lift up and away from the floor. Keeping all of that work in your lower body, plant your palms underneath your elbows. It's a little further back than you think. Palms are back under the elbows. Shoulder heads lift up in line with the elbows. Bring your mind's eye to those bottom tips of the shoulder blades. Begin to coil your chest open. Dive the bottom tips of the shoulder blades down to your chest. And it's because your chest is lengthening so far forward to the wall in front of you, you might be able to peel your forehead, peel your chest up off the floor for Cobra Pose, Bhujangasana. Rather than thinking height, instead think length. One more breath like that. Lower your forehead down. Draw your lower belly up, press up onto all fours. Downward facing dog. Heels come up to the wall. Ears in line with the arms. Slowing down your breath. Walk your feet down the wall, but you're going to attach your feet to the wall, the backs of the thighs come to the wall. Now, if you need to, you can always put your hands onto blocks, or you can just keep your fingertips on the floor. Move this off to the side. And it's like the whole back side of your legs have crazy glow on them. The feet press down, the thighs firm back, kneecaps are lifted. And then whether you are on the pads of the fingertips or on your blocks, I want you to imagine that your upper body is in downward facing dog and you're continuing to elongate across the front of the body. Just another breath like that. opening up behind the backs of your legs. Walk your feet forward away from the wall. Place your hands to your hips. And with a straight spine, come all the way up to an upright position. And release your arms down by your side. In order to learn how to do handstand, we have to learn how to do Tadasana. Tadasana is the blueprint postures of our standing postures, of most of our inversions. So we're going to practice that first, maybe 1 or 2 standing poses, and then we'll move into our handstand. So I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see my profile. I'd like you to take your block. You'll put your block at the long position in between your thumbs. Here so that you can see me better. There we go. Press your feet down, firm your leg muscles. And as though you had a pair of suspenders connected to the fronts of your pelvic bones, zip those frontal pelvic bones up to your ears. Spin the palms of your hands open. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, hook your thumbs together. And as you press your feet to the floor, firm your leg muscles. Draw those kneecaps up. Zip the fronts of your pelvic bones up to your earlobes. And rather than puffing your front ribs out in front of you, lift your back ribs out of your waistline as you firm your triceps into the tip of your nose. Just another breath like that. Turn the palms of your hands to face. And without losing that length, exhale, release your arms down by your side. I'm going to do that one more time. Again, feet on the thighs are lifted. Roll the block back. Roll the block back. And like pose, use your thumbs on your buttock to lengthen your buttock to your heels. Not because you're dumping in your pelvis, not because you're buckling in your thighs. The thighs are lifted, but the buttock is heavy. This is uber, uber important for your handstand. Without losing that work, you're going to reach your arms out in front of you. You'll switch the hook of your thumbs. Once again, firming those outer upper arms. Notice how we keep building. We're not getting rid of the ingredients of our cake. We're just adding. Now I want you to imagine that there is a huge beach ball that's in front of you, and you don't want the beach ball to knock you back. You want to get on the beach ball. Without bending your elbows, and without letting the beach ball knock you back, slowly, mindfully take your arms and lift them up. Only lifting your arms to that place to where you can keep the elbows straight without feeling as though the beach ball is knocking you back. And then as you lengthen your buttock down toward your heels, lift the back ribs out of your waistline. It's like you're separating yourself in 2 different directions. And without hinging in your lower back, without puffing those front ribs out in front of you, begin to coil your chest open. The bottom tips of the shoulder blades float up to the chest. Maybe because your chest is lifting so high, you can invite your gaze up to the sky. But if you feel any crunchiness in your neck, that means the pose isn't quite ready yet. Right? A couple more breaths like that, coiling the chest open as you soften the front ribs down. Keep all of that length as you turn the palms of your hands to face. Exhale, release your arms to the side. All right, let's go ahead and set the block down. Stand with your feet together. And as though you had the block in between your legs, you're going to work your legs as though you had that block. The kneecaps are pelvic rim drawing up. My ground is a bit unsteady, so I have to readjust right now. And so again, pelvis is lifted, and you'll bring your right foot above or below the left knee for tree pose. Press the left foot down. And without losing that work, again, thumbs to the buttock. Make that right buttock heavy. Lengthen it out of your lumbar as you find one point to focus your eyes onto. And keeping that right buttock heavy, sweep your arms up and overhead. This time, let's interlace the fingers. Heel of the palms turn up to the sky. And as that right buttock lengthens down, go up, 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 up with the back of the ribs. Turn the palms of your hands to face. Release your arms and your right foot down. All right, give it a little shake. Buttock is heavy as you bring your left foot above or below the right knee. Don't underestimate the power of simplicity. We have to learn all of these actions in our body so that we can translate them into more complex, complicated postures. Do this. We're keeping calm, we're keeping steady, finding a sense of ease from within. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, switch the interlacing of the hands, heel of the palms turn up to the sky, buttock is heavy as you lift up throughout the back of the ribs. Turn the palms of your hands to face, release your arms and your left foot down. All right, we're going to do triangle pose. I'm going to do triangle pose backwards because I want you to see what's happening in the back of the body. Again, lots of emphasis on this buttock lengthening out of the lumbar. That's very important for triangle pose. Okay, so I'm going to turn. Actually, I'm going to grab my blocks. Okay, facing this way, you're going to separate your legs nice and wide. Firm your leg muscles. Draw those kneecaps up and like your thumbs to your buttock and lengthen your buttock out of your lumbar. Notice if when you're doing that, if you're puffing your front ribs out in front of you. Keep those front ribs soft as lengthen to your heels. Without losing that, reach your arms out to the side of the room and you'll pivot your right foot to the right, turn the back foot in. The right heel lines up with the left. Keep your buttock heavy as you rotate the right thigh clockwise to the right. So that right kneecap lines up over the second toe. Exhale, shift your hips, put your right hand to your block to the outside of the right shin bone. Sweep your left arm up to the sky. And what we want to learn in this posture is not to stick the right buttock out, right? That right buttock is still lengthening out of the lumbar. Sometimes it's helpful to lift the block up higher in order to find that action in the body. And it's like the beach ball is still in front of you. So notice if the beach ball has knocked you back. Can you get on the beach ball? Lift up out of your bottom arm. And then spin the right ribs underneath the left without puffing your front ribs out in front of you. Inhale, come back up to an upright position. Pivot the right foot in. Pivot the left foot to the left. Remember to turn the back foot in slightly. Buttock is heavy as you spin the left thigh counterclockwise to the left. Exhale, shift your hips. Put your left hand to the block to the outside of the left shin bone. And as that left thigh spins counterclockwise to the left buttock lengthens out of the lumbar. Trying to get lots of space, lots of length throughout that left side waist. Fix your shoulder blades flat onto the back. And without back bending, spin the left ribs underneath the right. Inhale, come back up to an upright position. Pivot the left foot in and step the feet together. All right, here we are, ready for handstand. I'd like you to take your loop. Again, the loop is shoulder head to shoulder head. And you'll put your loop right above your elbows. And then we're going to come into downward facing dog. And you want to be close enough to the wall, as close to the wall as you can be, but not so close that when you come forward you have a traffic jam with your head. So usually about one leg's width distance away. And we'll just come into downward facing dog. Pause there for a moment. I can tell my strap is a little bit too loose, so I need to tighten it up here. And for most of us, unless your elbows are hyperextended, for almost all of us, we don't want to feel as though we're breaking the belt. We want to feel as though we're loosening the belt. Outer upper arms hug in as you press the floor away from you. Shift your shoulders over your wrist like you're taking plank pose. Oh, I'm a little too close. Shift your shoulders over your wrist like you're taking plank, and you'll probably have to walk your feet a bit forward. So your shoulders are in plank, but your butt is in downward dog. Lift up out of the palms of your hands and coil your chest open. Turn your sternum bone to face your chest, to face the mat, as you lift up out of the palms of your hands. Exhale, come down into your knees and take a break. Pause in child's pose. Round two. You're going to take your strap. Again, put your strap just above your elbows. Come into downward facing dog. Shift your shoulders over your wrist like you're taking plank. And some of us are going to stay right here. The shoulders lift up out of the palms as you coil your chest open. Now you can stay and enjoy just a few more breaths like this, or lift your right leg up just hip height and flex that right foot. Really straighten your right leg as you lengthen your and lower the right foot down. Inhale, lift your left leg up just hip height, and as you make your arms longer, straighten that left leg as you spin the inseam of the left pant leg up to the sky. One more breath like that, lifting up out of the palms. Lower the left leg down, come down to your knees, and take child's pose. Push yourself upright. All right, once again, you're going to put the strap right above the elbows. Bring your hands onto your mat for downward facing dog. Shift your shoulders over your wrists like you're taking plank. You might have to walk your feet in. And then from here, you're going to step one foot in, kick the other leg up. So I'll do that one more time. Shoulders are over the wrists. Coil the chest open. You'll step one foot in, kick the other leg up, and then from here, don't worry about the balance. Just bring your heels to the wall and go up, 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 up. Lift the shoulders up out of the palms. Use your heels pressing into the wall to lift your buttock up out of your lumbar. And then one leg at a time, lower back down, and take child's pose. All right, let's do this one more time. But again, before we actually go into it this last time, I'm going to talk. All right, so like we did before in that child's pose, from the beginning of the session, this back part of the arm, it doesn't want to go away from the wall. The back part of the forearm wants to reach toward the wall, okay? As this back of the arm resists forward, you're doing Cobra Pose in your upper body. Not your lower body, not your lumbar, your upper body is doing Cobra Pose. So let's try it one last time. Strap will come just above the elbows, hands onto the mat. Shift your shoulders over your wrists like you're taking plank. And then as you lift up out of your palms, coil your chest open. The back of the forearms reach toward that wall. Let's try kicking up with the other leg.
You'll step one foot in, kick the other leg up. Again, flex your feet. Don't worry at all about the balance. And just go up out of your palms as the back of the forearms resist to the wall. And as you coil your chest open. Lift your buttock to your heels. And then one leg at a time, lower back down. And take child's pose.
Very nicely done. Shoulders round. Notice your breath. And just observe whatever is arising as it is in this most exquisite moment. There's no better place to be than right here, right now. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself up, and then go ahead and set yourself up for your final posture, placing a blanket or a bolster beneath your knees. You can also place something under your head if you'd like. Recline down onto your back as you open your arms out to the side. Close your eyes. And release any controlled breathing. Namaste.